Hi, this is an interview with Gurpreet Dhillon discussing his book Information Security, Text and Cases.
Gurpreet Dhillon, UNC Greensboro.
Would you please summarize the argument of your book in one sentence?
I generally go into my classes in information security. It's probably more than a sentence, but I always tell them I'm the fried egg professor. And I say I'm a fried egg professor because I consider cybersecurity management to be like maintaining the integrity of a fried egg. So if you think about the yolk of an egg, so that is the technical infrastructure that you need to protect. Now, on its own, you can't do anything with the yolk of an egg. What you need around that is this albumin layer, which protects the integrity of that yolk. I call that the formal rule structures that exist in an organization for the yolk to be protected. So, which really means that in order for us to be technically very secure, you need a structure of rules and responsibilities and accountabilities around that yolk, which is going to ensure the protection of the information assets of a firm. Now, the yolk of an egg, the albumin layer, on its own, they can't stand. They need to be incorporated in a culture, they need to be incorporated in an organization setting where people are interacting with each other, and I call that the white of an egg, and I call that the informal aspects of information security. So, in totality, when you talk about information security, you're talking about maintaining the integrity of that particular fried egg. So on its own, it's not there. So if you have to protect security, you have to not only focus on the technical aspect, but also on the formal aspects, but as well as the informal behavioral aspects in the organization. One of the biggest problems that we see in the world of security is there are textbooks, there are books, there are authors who just focus on one element, which is okay, but doesn't give a comprehensive view of what information security should be. So in this particular book, and that's why I call it a book with an attitude, I bring this particular assertion that technical security is good, formal security is good, informal is good, but you can't look at them in isolation of one another. They all have to be thought about collectively. And hence I call this a book with an attitude.
Tell me more about preparation for the ISC squared or CISSP exam.
So I have been associated with this field from the very beginning, not only from the formulation of those 10 domains, but how they transformed over a period of time from the British standard to the ISO standard to NIST to ISC squared and all that stuff. So with that background, and me being a cybersecurity, information security person anyways, I incorporated all those aspects throughout the book. So hence many of my students come to me and they say, you know what, I'm preparing for an ISC squared CISSP exam, and I've taken your course, and it's a perfect fit. They really don't have to do anything else because of the subtle way in which all those domains have been incorporated into this particular textbook.
Would you like to say anything more about the importance of security?
I think, everything is so interconnected and we have our own privacy and identity to protect. It touches every single walk of our life. You are on Facebook, you are on Twitter, you are on any social media, you feel and sense it that you need to protect your information resources. And hence when someone is able to relate back to the principles and the concepts that I'm talking about in my book, it's just very fulfilling that they have learned something and they kind of relate to those aspects.